So, William, what was it about Drive Angry that made you want to be in it?
Loved the script from the first time I read it. Loved the characters. I loved the way the story unfolded. It was just one of those things. Got the script in the mail and read the cover sheet. Sat down one night, read it. Called my agent in the morning. I said, that script you sent me, Drive Angry, that is just awesome. I would love to sit down with Patrick Lussier, and met him a couple of weeks later. Had a cup of coffee. Really talked about the story, and that's when you discover Patrick's enthusiasm and his knowledge, and 3 months later we started shooting the film.
This is a very unique script and a very unique movie. I mean, when you read it, were you thinking, wow, this is insane, but it's fun? What were you thinking?
All of that, exactly what you just said. All of that, insane, fun, and there are certain elements to it that really reveal themselves, throughout the film when you watch it. Who is this guy Milton, Nick Cage's character? Where does he come from? Who's this other guy, the accountant that comes in? He doesn't have a calculator. What is he doing? He seems to be a pretty bad dude sometimes. And then all of a sudden he seems to have a heart. All of that I felt the very first time that I read it. There's a lot of rhythms to it that keep coming in and out, but it's, it always drives forward, and ultimately I felt it was a really positive film. Where everybody ends up is where they needed to get to, and it never wavers from that. Everybody has such a clear direction of where they're going, and I love the ending scenes in the film. It's a bit of a surprise to people.
And it's interesting because they're not really any good guys in this movie, but maybe the ones we expect to be the worst are not really that bad. I don't know if you agree with me there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say to that one. That's true. Though, no matter what Milton, Nick's character, did when he lived on Earth, obviously he did terrible things. He went to hell. But he broke out of hell for a reason. It's a very noble reason to do something for once, probably in his life, that he never did in the living years, to do the right thing. And he felt so strongly about that. He figured out how to get out of hell. It rarely happens. I come into play. I have no idea why he broke out, but I'm going to find him. I am the accountant. I am responsible for everybody in hell. You leave? No. You got to go back. But when I'm chasing him, then the accountant discovers why it is that Milton broke out. It's a good cause. I'm still going to get him, but maybe I can help him along the way a little bit too.
William, this must have been a fun character to play.
Sure. Yeah, from the beginning. Fun to shoot it. Every day on the set in Shreveport was a good day. Working with Patrick and Todd, our co-writer, and who plays Frank in the movie. I never worked with Nick before, and he's such a gentleman. And Amber, who's just such a doll, and everything about it. It's why I've said it 1,000 times since we finished shooting the film. Right up there, probably the best time I ever had.
What is Nick like on set? Quiet.
Yeah, very intelligent, and super prepared as an actor. And I love that. And and he's an original. I mean, that's what you've known that about Nick. You got to be blind not to know that about Nick Cage, that he's an original. He likes to think original thoughts. He likes to go places that are very unique to. He brings a rhythm that's not the norm, and I've always loved that about him. Knowing that he was playing Milton before we started shooting it, I didn't know what he was going to do, but I knew it was going to be something like what he actually does, and I looked forward to that. And then when we shot the scenes together, it was a real joy.
I thought Amber was amazing as Piper, this character who's not the typical damsel in distress. I don't know if you agree with me.
Absolutely. She's as tough as anybody else in the story. I love that about the character. And Amber is such a sweet woman, and really, I love to be around any actor, no matter who. And it's, she's much younger than Nick and I, but I love when you see an actor on set that is so committed to think about, where I want to go and how I want to get there, and those are the people you want to work with, and I just had a really great time being around her.
And you're also surrounded by some great supporting actors. I mean, Billy and everyone else. They're really top.
David Morse, Billy Burke, David Morse. The scenes where he hooks back up with Webster. David's one of those guys that I've known for a long time, just from living in New York for years and years. And when David is in a scene, like when he shows up in this movie, he's so grounded. He's just so feet on the ground, right, stuck in the earth. And this story, it's great casting. It's great casting. Give kudos to Nancy Nayer and Patrick Lussier for having those ideas to want to get somebody like him. And there's parts like that throughout. Smaller characters that are just man in wig in the church. He's fantastic sitting there with that wig on. But I mean, that's a local actor down there, and he just he brought it to the table.
It is a very surprising film. I'm sure it surprised you too.
When I finally saw it, yeah, the very first time that I read it, it's such a visual read. You can just imagine everything because it's well described in there. That's what I said. It's such a well-written script that, and then we shoot it, and I'm seeing the stuff that I imagined. But then when I saw it on screen a couple of nights ago for the first time, when you shoot something, you don't shoot it with a soundtrack, but it's such a rock and roll sort of film that when you see the muscle cars and these characters in this tough, pretty, sexy, in 3D, with the rock and roll music, I thought, wow, that's what I was hoping this was going to be, and it is.
A lot of that is Patrick Lussier's merit. What is he like as a filmmaker?
A joy to be around, to talk to. He's just a positive human being. I could go on and on. There's so many things that come to mind. He's just a great guy with a great vision, and I love working with directors that, you have an idea, like I have an idea. I'll have an idea, might not be the right one, but somebody that gives you trust and lets you go. And when they add things, it's, hey, while you're going down that road, here's a couple of thoughts to take with you. And it just makes you go a little bit faster, a little bit further down that road. And there's nothing better than that. And that is working with Patrick all the time.
He had it very clear that he wanted this movie to be in 3D. His previous movie was in 3D. I think sometimes 3D can be gimmicky, but not in this case. I wanted to ask you about shooting in 3D. And what do you think 3D has brought to the movie?
Well, you haven't seen this in 3D, and I am a fan of 3D. I don't think that you need to shoot everything in 3D, but I was curious when we started shooting the film, especially with the muscle cars and some of the tough stuff that happens in here between characters and the fights and the grittiness and the speed of so many elements of this movie. It wasn't lost on me throughout the shoot. I thought many a time to myself, I can't even imagine what this is going to look like in 3D, especially the car thing, because I'm a car guy. I love the whole muscle car era. I have one myself, and I'd see that SS red Chevelle, the 454, the 1970, and the 69 Dodge Charger, and I'd see that 3D camera and think to myself, wow. We haven't seen that.